Welcome to another episode of Millennials to Millionaires.
Before we get started, we got something very, very special for you guys.
Extremely special.
If you look in the description below, we have a free, I repeat, free real estate investor's guide. Make sure you click the link in the description and get access to it right away.
Remember, it's free.
Now, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Another episode of Millennials to Millionaires. I'm your boy, Daniel King.
And I'm Twee Estate.
So listen, it's just going to be me and Twee today, rapping on the mic, just having a candid conversation. And we're going to kick it off and start it like the whole title, Millennials to Millionaires. Like, let's tell the people kind of where that came from, where it started, and like, what does it actually take for a millennial to become a millionaire?
I mean, I think that's a tough question. You know, it's multifaceted too because it depends what you're after. Like if you're only after money, there are certain things you can do to get money, right? Certain things. Okay, you buy real estate, you buy a property, you flip it, you refinance, rent it out, BRRRR method, and then you sell it, right? But I think more importantly, as a millennial, I think you should be focused on finding a passion and finding purpose. Because once you find a passion and purpose, the money's a byproduct of passion and purpose, right? It's like, okay, if I know I love to make dresses and I'm refining my craft to the point where I'm the best dressmaker in the city, money's gonna come from that, right? People are gonna recognize your talent. But if you just chase money, like money's elusive, money will run. If you keep chasing money, you'll end up everywhere, right? So it's like, I think you should find passion. Like I was passionate about real estate, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, when I was 12 years old, I used to run to the resale magazine home boxes. You know, the yellow box. I used to run to those and I used to grab magazines and I used to be circling houses, you know, because I had passion for it, right? I used to draw and I used to just draw houses nonstop. Houses, cars, trees.
Yeah.
Those are my three things that I used to draw. You know, but I had passion for it, right? So now when I'm essentially, if I start my career from when I was 12 years old and I found the house that we ended up buying at when I was 12 years old. Essentially, that was my first deal. So I've been in this game almost 18, 19 years.
Yeah, a
right?
couple decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think personally, when it comes to becoming a millionaire, like you said, like passion is key. But this generation, I feel like there's a lot of distractions, right? And people lack focus, right? Social media in itself is one of the biggest distractions, and it's on your phone, right? So a lot of people, they don't use social media as a tool, but instead it's actually
Use social media to use them.
they're using exactly, you know what I mean? It's just like, you know, watching a commercial, you know, like
Non-stop.
watching a non-stop commercial, right? And
I like that.
I feel like a lot of people, especially in this generation, they want the microwave success. You know, you see story about Bitcoin going from, you know, a few $100s to 80,000, and how many millionaires were created overnight. And people just want the overnight success. And what people don't realize that you have to take the stairs. You know, there's no elevator to success.
No.
And it's going to require you planting seeds, and it's going to require consistency. It's going to require you watering it every single day.
And I think it's like how will you bounce back from a failure?
Yeah.
That's like crucial, especially if you're on this pursuit of success.
And people are scared to fail.
That's the problem, right? So it's like, will you even put yourself out there enough to take that chance and know that, yo, this might not even work out? And then how do you respond to it not working out?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The first property I ever bought, I lost my deposit because I couldn't close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I wasn't like, oh my God, like my life's over. I'm never going to buy a property again. I was like, yo, I need to smarten up. I need to do better. I need to be more prepared when closing comes so that I can close a property that I've committed to. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So it's just like, how do you respond to failure? I think life is not about what happens to you, but it's how you respond to what happens to you.
How you bounce
You know what I
back.
mean? That's what it's about, right?
100%. And did you ever lose a deposit after that situation?
Bro, I've never lost a deposit. and I've never had one of my clients lose a deposit.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, or God willing, God forbid.
Yeah. No, 100%. So now, what do you think in terms of, people getting caught up on social media with the hype and the flash, and at the end of the day, social media is a highlight reel, right? So it's 15-second clips. People are seeing people in new cars every day, on trips, on vacations, popping bottles in the club. How do you think people can see that and not let their mind, drift away and saying, oh man, I gotta book another vacation, or I need to go out to the club, or I need a new car. And instead of thinking those things, like, okay, you know what? That's cool, but those times will come, And right now, I gotta kind of keep my head down and maybe disappear for 6 months to a year.
You know what's funny? You know how people always say life is short? I think life is long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you think about like people who were popping in high school, like where are they now? You know what I'm saying? Like life is long. Like when it's cool to be popping at 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
But now we're 30. We're 31 years old.
Yeah, what does 50
Are you
say?
still popping?
Well, what does 50 say? Back then you was the man, homie.
What happened to you?
What happened to you, bro?
You know what I'm saying? So life is actually indeed long.
Yeah.
And it's like we gotta have that foresight. Like, yo, even if I'm seeing something, even if I'm consuming all this lavishness and all this luxury on social media, like, what is that doing to me? Am I allowing that to motivate me?
Yeah.
That's a way to look at it, right? Or if am I just consuming this and it's causing stagnation within me?
Yeah.
Right? Am I just like, oh, like how am I ever gonna get that? And then now I'm doing the wrong things to try to live like that.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about how you use it. When I see a yacht or when I see a mansion, I'm just like, yo, I know I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
But I'll close my gram, like, yo, I gotta get back to work.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. You know
sure.
what I mean? I gotta go back to work.
For sure.
You know
But I
what I'm
think
saying?
most people look at it like, oh man, I'm never gonna get that, and oh, these people have it so easy, or this or that, and they don't actually look and apply these principles on what they can do and apply to their life, so that maybe in 12, 18 months, 24 months, they can get there. Like, I didn't take my first vacation till 2019.
Yeah, that's crazy.
2019, I was 4 years ago.
You see, I was taking vacations from like 20.
Yeah, like you were
doing it backwards.
You were doing it big, bro. But like literally, when I was growing up, like my first seminar I went to was a Rich Dad Poor Dad seminar by Robert Kiyosaki. I've been to seminars with Damon John from Shark Tank.
What was the biggest takeaway from that Rich Dad Poor Dad seminar? You always talk about the quadrant thing.
Yeah, so the quadrant is key. So the cash flow quadrant, where you're an employee, you're self-employed, you're an investor, or you're a business owner. Just realizing what quadrant I was in at that point and what quadrant I wanted to get to, and how I'm gonna get from here to here, and understanding there's only a small amount of people in the world that are on the right side of the quadrant, right? And the majority of people are on the left side, right? So it's just like, cool, I was an employee for a while, and then I started my own business. I was selling cars. I sold cars for 10 years. And yes, it was more financially rewarding. And sure, I made more money than having a job, but I was still self-employed. If I didn't clock in, if I didn't go to the auction, if I didn't buy cars, if I didn't go to the dealerships and the body shops, and if I wasn't turning things over, if I wasn't trading my time, I wasn't getting paid. So when I started off, I started off as an employee, as most people do, working a job. And then from there, it's like, okay, you know what? I moved to the self-employment box. And I was just like, okay, it was cool. Yeah, maybe I made 6 figures, but I still didn't have any time. Right? I couldn't take a vacation because a vacation, the opportunity cost on a vacation.
You were trading your time for money.
That's it. And if I took a trip and I took a vacation, it wasn't the $1,000 or $2,000 for the all-inclusive that I was worried about. It was about how many deals I was going to miss.
The opportunity cost.
While I was gone. Right? So that's what made me say, okay, you know what? I need to get my first property. I need to get into the I box, right? As an investor.
Yep.
So now it's like, okay, you know what? Instead of working for money, I'm going to have my money work for me, right? And then I did my first flip, and it went well, made a little bit of money, and I was like, okay, wow. The time that it took me to take this flip, it was like, even if I only made 20 grand, I would have had to sell 7, 8, 9 cars
To make 20 grand.
to make that same 20 G's.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So when I did my first flip, it was more so a light bulb that kind of went off in my mind. But now the end goal for me is to get to that B box, that business owner. Because now at that point, now you build a system, right? Where it's not, yeah, you can still put your money down, but as you put your money down, you build a business now. It's totally different. Because now you have an ecosystem, you have a team, and that goes on to the next thing. Like, how important is it to have a quality team? Because at the end of the day, you're only as good, in my opinion, as your people around you.
Facts,
right?
facts,
So like,
facts.
what do you think, in terms of like having the right people on your team and even just the right people in your circle? And it could be, the person you're in a relationship with. It could be a girl you're talking to. It could be like, what's the importance of the people that you talk to on a day-to-day basis and people that are helping you get to that next level?
The way I look at it is, your mindset is everything, okay? And who you surround yourself with is either conducive to your mindset or detriment to your mindset, right? So you got to treat your mindset like a plant. So are people watering? Are people watering your mindset? Are people watering the way you think? Or are people literally just taking? And I notice myself, because I've been fortunate or unfortunate to live many different lives, right? And I've seen the evolution of certain things and certain lifestyles, right? So when growing up in my early 20s, like, my mind was so focused on quick money. Like, how can I make quick money? Because that's all that I was surrounded by.
Yeah.
And then when I finished university and I started, mingling with different people, because I had my real estate license and I started rubbing shoulders with different people, I started to understand, like, wait a second, like, it's the long game that we're playing here. Right?
It's a marathon.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
It's a sprint.
But then, like, culturally, around the people that, growing up that I would surround myself with, we only thought, like, yo, we got to get this now. We got to get to the bag. That's how we thought. We never thought about, let's plant seeds. Okay, let's put this money down here, let it sit, let it wait, and see what comes out of it. We never thought like that. You know what I'm saying? So when I surround myself with different people and I got insight to how they think and how investing, how real estate is a real tool. Like it's funny because to people it probably feels like, yo, we keep preaching the same message, but the message is so important.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's literally the secret to, like, breaking generational curses.
Yeah, but it's not even a secret. We tell everybody about it.
It's not even a secret.
Yeah.
It's the solution.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the solution to get out the streets.
Yeah.
It's the solution to breaking generational curses.
Yeah.
It's the solution to getting out of poverty.
Yeah.
Like, it's the solution. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And you just have that patience.
And that's the thing, but everyone wants get rich quick, right? And the thing is,
no.
it's like, if things can come quick, it can also be
go.
taken away very quickly.
Bro, all the fast money that I know people made, I made, like, that evaporated. It was gone because you don't respect it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't expect it. You don't have the mental fortitude to understand, like, okay, I got this money, so let me put it else in other vehicles.
Yeah.
Where it's safe, where it can grow potentially. Right? We're stuck in a consumer mindset where whatever we make, it's like, okay, how can we spend it? Because we're all looking to keep up with a certain image, right? It's a facade thing. And I got stuck in it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get stuck in it. Like, but it's like, how do you bounce back? Like, how do you step out of what's going on? Step out of your situation and say, okay, wait a second. Like, I'm doing this all wrong. You know what I mean? Like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? I had that moment. I had that epiphany a few years ago. I'm like, bro, like, I don't need to pretend like I have money. I don't need to pretend because I have money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you don't need to prove it to
anybody.
anybody.
Exactly. I have money. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
and I'll be honest with you, like, even when, let's say, you are successful and you do have money, I feel like you almost attract the wrong people as well.
That's a whole other thing.
Right? You attract people that are opportunistic. You're attracting people that, are only there for what they can take, what they can give. And I remember watching an interview, and I don't remember who it was, and he's like, yo, you want to find out who your real friends are.
Tell them you're broke.
Pretend to be broke.
Yeah.
Pretend to have absolutely no money.
Nothing, yeah.
Every time they ask you to go out, you're not able to. You don't have the funds, and you'll see people's true colors.
I
But
think it was Fat Joe.
yeah, I think it was
He said
Fat
he
Joe.
lost like 40 friends or something like
Yeah.
that. You know.
But that was a great litmus test, right? Because those people shouldn't have been in his corner to begin with.
Facts,
You know what I mean? If somebody's only here for the up times and the good
Perks,
times,
Yeah.
if they're not riding with you on the bus, they don't deserve to be beside you in the Rari when you pull out the 296.
You know
You
what
know,
I'm
they don't deserve it. You know what I mean? They literally, the people that are riding with you should be the people that are going with you 100%. So I think for going back to the initial question, how do millennials become millionaires? I think a very, very big part of it is building the right team, building the right ecosystem, and operating from a business perspective. And I say that to say, and that's why we stopped calling this the podcast, is because when we met with Earn Your Leisure, we met with Troy and Rashad, and I remember Troy pulled us to the side, and he's like, bro, stop calling this a podcast.
He's like, you see what y'all doing
You
here?
know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, these
You see
cameras
this
are
production?
these cameras are in 4K. Stop calling this a podcast, right? And that in itself was a light bulb that kind of went off in my head because we were thinking way too small, and that was one of the tips that the billionaires would say. Diddy told them, you want to be a billionaire, think bigger,
Yeah.
right? So instead of just looking
Harvey,
at this
think
as a podcast where we're just on YouTube, we're on Spotify. Now let's actually take this and turn it into a business with 10 plus streams of income, and people are going to follow us on this journey, as we're making this transitional stage.
Literally
But
making something from nothing.
that's it. But the thing is, we've built businesses before.
Yeah.
So we kind of understand, we do understand, the aspects to what it takes to build a successful business. And I think that's the thing. Once you understand the system, once you understand how to do it once, you can apply it and you can do it.
Repeat.
Rinse and repeat all over again. We hope you guys are enjoying this episode. Don't forget
To click the link in our description for your free real estate investor guide.
All right, now back to the scheduled program. Well, what do you think is one of the most important aspects in building a business, especially from the ground up? You have a great team. You have the right mindset. What else do people need to be successful, in your opinion?
I think you have to have a plan, like a real plan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like people have goals and people have dreams, people have visions, but it's all in execution.
Yeah.
Like, that pursuit will fail or will succeed based on how well you planned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like with
You
this,
fail to plan, you plan to fail.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you do, right? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
And that's so important because we get into things. A lot of people start businesses. Girls start lash companies, hair extensions, all these things. Like, people start businesses, but there's no real plan. There's no real marketing plan. There's no go-to-market strategy.
Yeah.
There's no like marketing's such a big aspect, right? So it's like, if you don't even have that figured out, like, you shouldn't even start, right? Because then once you start putting money into something and you don't see the results, what do people do?
Give up.
They stop.
Throw in the
Like,
towel.
I tried to be an entrepreneur and it didn't work.
It's too hard.
You start cursing the whole career.
It's too
path.
hard.
Exactly.
But once again, if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Facts.
If it was easy, everyone would do it. So it's like, stop looking for the easy way, but actually look for, okay, you know what? Just accepting right off the rip, this is going to be hard.
Very hard.
This is going to be very hard. It's going to be very, very challenging. But if we plan and we execute, it'll be worth it in the end.
Beneficial for everybody.
It'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah.
For my children, for my family, for my friends, for everyone in my circle. If we actually can execute this, then we can. And if we can't, we have nobody to blame but ourselves. And I think that's so key what you say, because a lot of people, like, for example, like a girl, for example, that wants to start a lash business or a nail business or something of that sort. It's a huge industry. But just to buy a chair and some equipment, and put up a post on your social media, that's not enough. You know, you're still in that self-employed box. If you want to shift over to the business owner box, you have to look at it overall and have a holistic plan, a full comprehensive plan in terms of, okay, what is your marketing plan? Who's your target market? How are you reaching out to your people? How are you getting leads? How are you converting leads? How are you reaching out to warm market? How are you reaching out to cold market? What type of promotions? What type of contests? What type of things are you going to be doing to bring value? You know, and really just kind of take things to the next level. I think having an idea is cool, but they say the graveyard is the richest place in the world because people die with their ideas.
Yep.
You know, I thought about Uber before Uber was. I never did anything about it.
Yo,
We would be having this conversation on a beach somewhere right now.
It's so funny you say that because, well, first back to the starting a business thing. So I think one of the most important things is figuring out what is your differentiator, what is your competitive advantage.
Yeah.
If you're gonna start a business that possibly may be a crowded space, how do you differentiate yourself amongst the competition? You're starting a lash business, like, how do I give my clients a different experience? How do I give them different techniques? How do I research different techniques?
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you're a business owner, you got to immerse yourself in that business. Okay, if I'm doing XYZ, like, what are the latest techniques in Europe? What are the latest techniques in wherever? But you have to hone in on that skill and actually perfect it and learn new things, right? If you're constantly learning, then you can actually apply those things, and then you can give people new experiences. But if you're just going off of your previous knowledge that you've obtained, it's not enough.
100%.
Because everybody has that knowledge, right? How do you differentiate yourself?
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And you said something about like the graveyard being the richest place in the world. It's crazy because when I think about all the potential money that I've lost, I've probably lost
Billions.
billions
Yeah.
in just not executing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the power of execution is crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because by not executing, like, you're guaranteed one thing. It'll never pop. It'll never come to fruition. You know what I'm saying, bro? I had crazy ideas. You know what I'm saying? It just never took the chance.
Yeah.
And I think now I've gotten to the point where I'm literally a believer and I'm a doer of what things that I'm saying, right? Like, I'm literally taking a stab at everything that I ever wanted to do.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if not me, who?
Yeah. And
If not now, when? You know what I'm saying?
And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
100%. And I think with every failure, God forbid these ventures that I'm working on fail, but with every failure,
There's a lesson.
There's a huge lesson.
Either you win or you learn.
That's it. And
No losses.
Exactly. It's a win-win. And I think from those lessons, you're able to create or to adjust certain things, refine things, to now become that thing that actually works.
100%. I think having that competitive advantage is key for any business. And just kind of going back, my younger sister wanted to start a nail business. And I'm like, all right, cool, you're going to do nails. There's 100 nail shops in the GTA. How are you going to be different? You know? And I started giving her some ideas. Maybe you have an app. You have your own app, a booking system. You know, you have a place where people can come and they can design their own nails and ideas, and they can upload reference photos so when they come for their appointment, they're ready to go. You know what I mean? Or maybe you have a mobile team that's going to be going out to their home location on site. So, like, even for me, like, when I was selling cars, the car industry is crazy competitive. You know, anytime you see a car dealership, you see 10 or 20 right beside it because there's specific zoning for dealerships. So it's just like, I'm getting in a space in my early 20s or my late teens. I started selling cars on Kijiji, but when I actually opened up my dealership, I was in my early 20s. How am I going to be successful, and how am I going to compete with these multi-million dollar and billion-dollar corporations when I'm a young kid from Brampton with 20 grand that I'm starting off with? How am I going to get to the next level, right? I don't have an extensive line of credit to have 100 cars in my inventory. So for me, it's like, okay, you know what? I have limited capital. I don't have, obviously, the biggest marketing budget. I don't have the biggest or the best location. What am I going to do? All right, let me start with my warm market. And what I did was, instead of buying cars and having them sit on my lot, I would find the customer first.
Yeah.
Then, all right, what are you looking for? Boom. You want a Infiniti G35? You want a BMW 5 Series? No problem. Let me now go and find that car for you. I'm going to take a small deposit from you, which is fully refundable if I don't get it for you. But now I'm going to go find that car for you at a wholesale price. Yeah. I'm going to put my flat fee, my rate on top of it. So that way, if I'm not buying up that car and I don't have to sit on it, I'm not tying up my money. I'm not tying up inventory. And right away, it's like, okay, I find the client, boom. Then I found the vehicle itself. And then it's like, all right, now what else can I do to make myself different? Let me make myself a one-stop shop. What do you want to do to customize this car? Instead of you now getting this car and you have to go get tinted and get rims and this, and you let me know what you want to do to this car, and I'll get it done. So by the time you pick it up, it's tinted, rims, it's painted, it's exactly how you want it. And on top of that, to just bring things to another level, I'm going to call you in 3 months when I know you need to get an oil change, and I'm going to personally come grab the car myself, or I'm going to send somebody to come pick it up and take it to service. I'm going to go the extra mile.
So you created a whole different experience.
That was it.
For the client. And
right?
That was a differentiator.
And
because no dealership is doing that.
Nobody was doing that. So I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to set myself apart from the rest? And for me, it was providing that level of quality of customer service. And that's what led to me getting referrals. And you know what? All right, you know what? My best friend wants a car, or my brother, or my sister, or whoever else. And then it just kind of builds from there. But having that competitive advantage is super key, and it's super important.
You were actually 21. You started a business, but I feel like that business was a lot. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of manual work, right? Because you were literally trading your time for money. So if you were 21 again, what would you do different?
To be
honest, in life, not just with the dealership. In life.
In life, what I would have done differently, I definitely would have got involved with real estate a lot sooner. Just seeing how lucrative it is, just the average transaction being able to make $20,000. Like I said, I would have to move 10 to 15 cars, you know what I mean, to make that the same commission that I would make from one real estate transaction. And I think the key in terms of being successful is trying to make as much money as possible in as little time as possible. You have books like the 4-Hour Work Week and stuff like that, where it's talking about, okay, reaching these certain heights, but doing it as little time as possible. If you make $1 million a year, but you have to work 100 hours a week, in my opinion, like you're not successful. You have money, but you don't have time. You're not able to actually spend that money that you're actually making, right? So I think it's very key to just, if I was 21 again, building having the right people around you from the jump is very, very important and very key. Having the right mentors, having the right people in your circle, having the right girlfriend, having the right best friend, having the right circle, just understanding that you're a product of your environment, right? So I say it all the time, if you have 4 broke friends, you're going to be the 5th one. So just surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like and you aspire to be too, and just following the mentorship. If I could have started all over again, I probably wouldn't have even went to university. To be honest, I went to Carleton the same way you did, dropped out after 1 year. I know you did the full stretch, but if I could go back, I would have tried to find a mentor sooner for me, because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? Like if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, obviously you have to go to school, right? Yeah. But for me, I always wanted to be a business owner. I wanted to be in that B quadrant that we were talking about earlier. So for me, I would have found a mentor a lot sooner. And truthfully speaking, just trying to learn as much as I can. Like I did do a lot of seminars. I would have read more books. I would have listened to more audios. I would have fed my mind with the key things that I needed to be successful. Instead of watching 106 in Park, instead of watching, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
BET Uncut.
BET Uncut, you know what I mean? we're gonna cut that part, but you know, but,
keeping that.
but instead of filling my mind with things that were just entertainment, I would have filled my mind with things that were gonna take me to the next level, right? And I started sprinkling that in, like when I was in my early teens, when I started going to seminars and started getting in the right rooms. I started, doing network marketing businesses and just started getting in different spaces where I could learn from different people. But that's the key. To be rich, to be a millionaire, it starts in your mind. You're rich in your mind before you're ever rich in your pocket. So just going back, telling my younger self is like, get rich in your mind, Daniel. Whatever it takes, whatever you need to do, get rich in your mind. Read more books, less entertainment, forget about the parties, forget about the vacations. Literally just disappear. Disappear for a year, 6 months to a year. You have no idea. You being able to disappear for 6 months to a year can set you up for the next 10 to 20 years in your life. So that would be my thing. Just kind of staying focused, building the right circle. And don't be afraid to disappear. You don't need to be on the gram. You don't need to show people a highlight reel. I didn't get Instagram until I started, my car dealership business, is because it's like I wasn't proud about posting anything. I was driving a beat up Honda Civic. There wasn't anything I was proud to post. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna go on social media until I feel like, I'm confident. Right? So just being authentic and understanding your journey and understanding that everybody has, a specific journey, and you can't rush the process. You can't rush it. You got to take the stairs to success, and you got to build. Yeah. What's something you would tell your younger self?
I mean, as cliche as it sounds, I would probably tell my younger self to believe in yourself. Because I feel like at that time, I was filled with such great ideas, such great things that I wanted to accomplish or to get into, and I didn't believe I could do it. I actually got into real estate investment at 21, so I still knew that there are certain things that I should be doing, right? I knew that I should get into real estate, so by God's grace, I did. But I think outside of real estate, and even in my real estate career, I could have set myself up better by believing I could. Because I remember when I first started real estate, my first year, like I was saying earlier, I only did $36,000. And that was all leases and one sale. It was my aunt that gave me her house to sell. God bless her. Yeah. She gave me her house to sell, and that was the only sale that I got. You know what I'm saying?
After that first year, were you motivated or were you discouraged?
I was motivated, but I was scared because I was like, I'm in uncharted territory. Nobody at that moment, like I was by myself. There's nobody that looked like you. You weren't around, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. There weren't no other agents my age that looked like me. You know what I mean? So I would go back in those days, offer presentations were in person. So now I'd have to go sit with the agent at the actual listing, and I'd be freaking sweating, like nervous, And they could read that I'm a kid, they could read that I'm new at this, and that would scare me. You know what I'm saying? But had I believed in myself just a bit more, like I believed in myself to get into the industry and to actually do it, but had I believed in myself just a bit more, I think would have set myself up for like immense success. There's certain businesses that I should have started, that I didn't start, that I watched get started, and I'm just like, shoot, all I had to do is actually think that I could pull it off, and I would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's a very, very key thing that you said, just do it scared. Mm-hmm. And I think success is always right outside your comfort zone. So generally speaking, if your dreams do not scare you, they are not big enough. You need to dream bigger. Right? And every situation that I was doing, whether it was when, getting my first development site, and what I had to go through, selling all my houses, selling all my cars, whatever I had, any asset that I had in terms of, going all in on this development site, it was super scary, you know, but I always know that, and my mentors would tell me that when you're scared, you know that you're on the right track.
Sure.
You know, and do it scared. Whenever you're uncomfortable about anything, still do it.
I'd say like the greatest things in life are right outside of that fear. Like
course.
right over that fence. Like
Yeah.
that fence is fear.
Right outside your comfort zone.
The greatest things are right over those hedges. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like you just gotta be able to just like peer that back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or get over that hedge. Once you get over that, and it's funny because fear is something of the mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the fear of the unknown. You're like, okay, like I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know anybody that's done it. Like it's all up here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
So,
it's
the
all
stronger
mental.
you are up here, the brain's a muscle, right? So
Yeah.
the stronger you are up here. So just like you can go to the gym and you can train, you know, your physical body, like you can train your mental body.
Yeah.
Right. So the stronger you are up here, the stronger you are to withstand when doubt sets in. Right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but it's like I've already built up that mental fortitude to know, okay, like I've been reading about this, I've been studying about this,
Yeah.
I've been prepared my mind for this. You know what I mean? So I can do this, and I think that's the mindset I have now. So
Yeah.
it takes a while, but had we had that back then, oh my God, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
This conversation would be on like a yacht in like the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, 100%. On south of France.
South of France.
South
You know
of
what I'm
France,
saying?
you know? You're hailing up Jigga from across the ocean, you know?
Yo, salute, my
But
guy.
no, I think that's very, very important. And just having that, I think, emotional and mental intelligence, right? Because I feel like in life, you can talk yourself out of a lot of great ideas
Sure.
just by having that doubt, you know, and maybe you don't have that person in your corner that is pushing you or motivating you to get something done, you know, but I think just having that confidence to be able to push yourself and believe in yourself and know that if you do fail, it's okay,
It's normal.
you know, and the faster you fail, the faster you'll be able to succeed. So I think these are all very, very important keys to success, you know, in terms of millennials becoming millionaires.
And lastly, before we leave, I want to say, like, we've all been conditioned, right? You've been raised a certain way. I've been raised a certain way. And who we are as a result of our conditioning, you know? But what you see out there, the fact that you've seen people that have succeeded, that look like you and I, that should be enough motivation, right? To say, okay, let me try to like unlearn certain things or certain habits, certain conditionings that have been instilled in me, right? It's like taking that step, taking that leap and saying, okay, you know, I know my mom said, or my dad said I couldn't do this, or that this wasn't a good idea, but I've seen the blueprint. I've seen these people do it.
Yeah.
Why can't I do it? What's the difference?
Yeah.
They just believed.
We all have the same 24 hours in the day. We
Bro,
have
we're
all
all
the same,
human.
We all have the same opportunity.
Yo, people coming to us like, yo, how'd you guys do it? Yo, da-da-da-da-da. It's like, you just tried. You know what I mean? You just took the chance.
Took
That's
that leap.
it. It's just like, yo.
Did it while scared.
Like, just took that step. You know what I mean? That's all it really is.
No.
And I think once we, like I said, once we like unhinge and unlearn how we've been conditioned, I think that will allow us to take those steps, take those leaps.
And it's key. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and the last job I ever had was before I started my car dealership. Like, I was selling cars on the side, but I was driving a truck for my uncle. I drove for him for 3 years.
You did everything.
I did everything. And I did that job, and I worked 7 days a week for 3 years without a day off. My days weren't long. They'd start early from like 4, but I would be done at like 12 or 1 o'clock. But I worked 7 days a week, right? And I was making probably like 5 G's a month, like in your early 20s. Like, it's great money.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money that you could be making, right? Drive whatever you want. But at the end of the day, like, I still had a ceiling, right? And for me to take that leap of faith and quit that job to start my car dealership with only $20,000 saved up was the scariest thing I could have ever done. But I look back at it today, and if I didn't take that leap of faith, where would I be? I would still be
Driving
a truck, still be probably driving a beat up old car. I still probably wouldn't have taken a vacation yet. I still would have been on that rat race, right? But I was scared
Some truck drivers get bread though.
Listen, you make bread in the trucking industry if you own the truck.
Yeah.
Right?
Logistics is a big industry.
It's a huge industry.
Yeah.
You know, EYL has a truck, and I know a lot of people that make money in the trucking industry.
sure,
My
for
uncle
sure.
makes
You
7
have to
figures.
be an owner
have to.
operator, or you have to have a fleet.
You have to have a fleet. You have to be in the B quadrant.
Yeah.
You have to be a business owner.
Facts.
Right? I was still in the E quadrant. I was an employee, you know, and even my uncle, when he was driving the truck, he was in the S quadrant. Because he was still on the trucks. He never really started making crazy money until he stepped back from the trucks, hired more drivers, got more trucks, and then he actually became a business as opposed to him being self-employed. But needless to say is I think that, you know, quitting your job isn't easy. And especially when you have children, you have people to depend on, family, friends that rely on you, it's extremely scary. But I think that if you have a plan and you actually have the right guidance, you have the right people in your corner, and you're able to execute that plan, it'll be the most rewarding thing for people to do. Actually take control of their life.
And I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. But for those that are risk adverse, you know, some people just can't fathom the idea of leaving their employment. You could still be a business owner.
Yeah, you can still have a business on the side. You can still own real estate.
Business to have on the side of your 9 to 5 is a real estate portfolio.
Of course.
That's the best business.
It's safe.
And it's the easiest business to start because you can leverage your current employment to acquire property.
For sure.
You know, because when you're self-employed like we are, like it's a nightmare to get a mortgage. You know what I'm saying? So they want to give people mortgages that are employees of a company that has structure and has benefits and has security. They want to do that.
Yeah.
So if you are in that position, you should have a crazy real estate portfolio.
For sure.
And one thing before we close, how you got started, how I got started, what was the common denominator? We partnered up with people.
Yeah, my first property I bought with my best friend.
First property I bought with my sister. You know what I'm saying? So if you haven't bought a property and it's like, oh, I got to save all this money, I think you just got to find someone that
Like-minded.
you're like-minded with.
And that goes back to your circle. Who's in your circle?
Yeah.
If we're just talking about...
Or step out of it.
Simple. You know, put yourself in the right rooms. Go to some networking events. Go to some seminars. Put yourself in the right rooms to be meeting people that have a similar mindset. Because I guarantee you put yourself in the right room, there is someone in that room that just has enough for half a deposit.
Yep.
And guess what? They're waiting on to meet somebody like you for that other half.
A lot of people have half a deposit.
Yeah.
Not many people have an entire deposit.
100%.
You might as well partner up.
100%. So, needless to say, you know, these are some gems for success. You know,
Gems for success. I like that.
I was just off the dome.
That could be a series.
Yeah, we might have to call that this. You know, who knows? But these are just some
Gems
gems,
of
and
success.
just talking about, you know, just the whole term of millennials to millionaires and how millennials could actually get to these M's, get to these millions. And like we said, it starts in the mind, starts with your circle, and it starts with taking action.
The execution. And I think on the next episode of Gems for Success, we'll break down how we made our first million.
Let's do it.
Or the second, third, whatever. Whichever one you guys want to talk about.
All right, bro. Say no more. We hope you guys enjoyed this amazing episode of Millennials to Millionaires.
Don't forget to click the link in the description to claim your free real estate investor guide.
This is something that's amazing for anyone to have if you're planning on getting into the market. This is something that you don't want to miss out on. Click the link below.
It's free.